Are we just rolling a stone up a hill in Hades, or for some of us on this wasteland, it's only our stage clothes that have dreams to be famous? Reference, deference, and indifference aside, acting is the most important part of reenactment. And I would absolutely say the most important tool for stage combat. This is the Medieval Content Channel. I am NC, the usual channel host, and I am going to start eventually doing some live action videos, probably not these video essays because I write them down and it's kind of awkward, but eventually. Eventually I'll turn a camera on, right? But until then, I would like to discuss the importance of acting to not just reenactment, but maybe more specifically stage combat, whether you're a festival that does tournaments or chess matches, whether you're the SEA. Maybe it doesn't apply as much to the SEA battles since I don't know, but I've seen the giant Pensic wars, and it kind of looks more like chaos. But or theater or film, I've experienced in all of these, with exception of SEA, and let's do it. In my time doing reenactment for a festival, it's more apparent to me that some people do it strictly because they think fighting is all that matters within reenactment, despite the fact that stage combat is anachronistic and there isn't a single piece of historical evidence to understand any concept of the combat we perform. Not to mention, what we perform is stage combat. It is theatrical combat. It's not historical nor practical either. But the effect books, most of them written after the fact or generally after the fact of the scenarios we tend to perform, do not have anything for eras like the Viking or anything other than up to, say, the 14th or 15th century, which is not typically what we tend to perform. And even then, most books, even the sagas, are always written well after the fact, whether it's 100,000 or more years. So how accurate and how much can we take from those, which usually are either just small descriptions or pictures drawn that you have to somehow, some way work out on your own, which is part of the fun. But these people have often claimed they won't do a show unless they get a fight or get paid, that they can walk away at any time until they sign that check. And even then, it's all about fighting. And though I disagree with that approach to reenactment, I do have to say it is still valid. If all you want to do is fight or check out how you can make these weapons and armor and shields and so on and so forth that people used back then, check out how it worked, find out for yourself, and make a show out of it, that's completely valid, and I support that. And you know what? I am, for the most part, a fighter on the board. But at least for what we do, fighting is only an hour of our day on an 8 hour or more day where we're acting. And that is the most important part of it that I've grown to realize. And to sort of to put a point on it, I have seen these people who claim that acting is garbage, that acting isn't important, that improv isn't important and is a waste of their time, and all they do is fight. I have seen people walk out of your fights because it is the same fight every year, or it never makes sense, or it lacks the most important thing that could change that around, which is personality, which is acting, which is believability, which is a story. Again, acting. So pardon that complete burial of, in all honesty, some people I know, or people you may know, but I don't want to sugarcoat it, especially on my platform. When a hard reality must be said, acting is the most important part of reenactment, whether it is festival, theater, film, living history, or even the SEA. Or, and of course, we shouldn't forget LARPing as well. So, from my perspective, what I've learned and how I've come to realize this is there have been people throughout the years who have clearly not ready for a fight as it pertained to, say, technique. And those people, they could barely wield a sword, barely hold up a shield, and some I still say didn't deserve the fight they got or the role that they got. But a few of them, at the least, have shown me over the course of time, in reality, the reason they deserved it, or perhaps got that role, was their acting ability. Become who the director needed them to become because they understood the role or the point that was trying to be made, and acting came first. If you can't embody the role you're asked to portray, then you're just background. And unless you're one of the directors, you don't get those roles again, or you're not going to get a feature fight again. Acting shows the festival attenders who you are and allows them to step into this alternate reality that we are trying to portray, whether it's conveying a job, personality, a scenario, or an aura of king, queen, knight, peasant, don't matter what. In a fight, a show is where everyone has a weapon. Who are you? Why are you on the board? Why are you fighting? What are you fighting for? And why should we care? This is what the festival goers, patrons, guests, attendees, whatever you call them, look for. They want to be engaged, they want to be immersed. So it's cool if you know the techniques and can fight with grace, but if you can't portray your character nor a story through your fights that drag the audience in and makes them cheer or jeer for you, and all you're doing is just swinging swords for no reason, then what's the point? And the point is people want to see themselves in you. They want to see themselves in the scenarios we put on, whether it's acting out in the lanes, living history, LARP, or for us, uh, in the fights that we portray on our board. People want to see themselves in it. They want to cheer for the free and passionate Vikings over the strict and obligatory religious Saxon, or the other way around. They want to see Arthur earn his crown and cry with him when it happens, or Joan rise up against the patriarchy and show people that women are human and women can fight for a cause as well. If all you're doing is swinging swords like, righto, chaps, who cares? What is there to watch? You want a medal for being able to not impress anyone but yourselves? You know, some of the greatest acting I have seen has not been in any of the fights, and has been out on the festival lanes, on people who grasp the concept of who they are and what they're doing and who their audience are. So I think that, as a vague sort of summation, is why it's important to integrate acting and improv into your stage fighting. I mean, the whole concept of stage fighting is that you are acting, you're pretending to fight. We are not really fighting. That is why it is anachronistic. Fighting is not historically accurate. We will never be historically accurate as medieval or Renaissance or LARP, SEA, whatever, fighters, because we're not out there actually trying to kill each other or do moves that we know were done, because we don't have that information. And we all got to go to work the next day. Some of us. But not every festival and not every reenactment scenario or setting has fighting. But also, not all of them have courses for improv nor training for fighting. The SEA allows so many different venues for people to learn about history and relive it, but festivals may not. And not all SEA events tailor to every individual's particular desires within reenactment. It can be difficult finding the training you may want or need, but if you can find it or are in a festival or SEA setting that offers it, take it. You may think you don't need it, but we all do. Every lesson is valuable, and every moment to learn helps you become a better person and a better performer on and off the field. Your favorite actors aren't all showing up to the set ready to go with no training, experience, or any of that sort. Those fight actors prepare sometimes months or more in advance Those actors with powerful scenes, sure, sometimes they can just pull it out of thin air, but most times they draw on experience and on training. You can tell when someone doesn't belong on the screen, like Hayden Christensen during the prequel era, but yet, look at him now on Obi-Wan. Time, experience, and understanding that you can make mistakes so long as you learn from them, I believe have at least helped him in the small portion of screen time we got to see him in. Acting is living in the moment. It's believing in who you are as your character and letting them come out and live. If just for a scene or a fight or all day in the lanes at reenactment, if you convey who you are and believe in it, then your audience will, and they'll be behind you every step of the way. There are some incredible people on cast that I truly believe belong in cinema, and yet for some reason they do reenactment instead, or local theaters where drama is even worse than reenactment. Every breath they take and every step inspires me to be a better person, an actor, because they are. They learned and are learning, and they believe in themselves as well as in the moment. And though not all of them are the best fighters, they have the best fights because every second of it is a story you can't look away from. In fact, one of my favorite moments of a fight was during a Harry Potter convention when someone who never fought and wasn't even officially part of the main cast created a powerful moment through just acting, believing in the role, knowing the point of it, and executing it perfectly. I love all my friends, those that think they're just fighters, and the people who are not fighters, and everyone in between. So, my apologies for burying you if you think this is about you, but it's my opinion that we really should integrate more improv as well as acting techniques into the concept of stage fighting. You know, the show is not about you, it's not about me, it's about the show. You know, there are several times where I've let myself get in the way of my own potential and try to learn from it. It's okay every now and then to have problems or cause problems, so long as we learn from it. I'm going to be doing some videos in the future, live action, of course, helping to understand the role acting has within reenactment and what I've learned and I've learned from others that might help reenactors from LARP, SEA, festivals, film, theater, whatever, to sort of convey what they're trying to become, what you're trying to become, and believe in yourself within the setting of medieval history, Renaissance history, whatever fantasy or otherwise that you're trying to portray. However, if you think acting isn't important, or perhaps improv in general, then you'll never get it. You'll never understand reenactment and the power it has over all of us, the allure that reliving or recreating history can give some people, whether it's the SEA, festivals, LARPing, etc. You'll just be a stunt choreographer. And despite the message of this video that is equally valid and perfectly okay, but don't look down on others because you think you are better, because no one is. Be who you need to become. Believe in you and your message. Lastly, give something you may not like a chance. It can still better you, even if you're just acting. All right. Thank you for listening to this video. I know they're kind of droll. I tend to meander, and it's just a picture. Um, but I enjoy doing these. It kind of gets these thoughts out of my head, and if it helps you in any way, shape, or form to think about the things that you do, that we do here in reenactment, then that's great. But until then, I am NC with the Medieval Content Channel, and you enjoy your day. Bip it about.